Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw, and today I'm reviewing the brand new album from Born of Osiris entitled Tomorrow We Die Alive. Yes, a very interesting title for this album. I of course have the computer here in order for me not to screw up band member names and song titles when I talk about the band members and some of the songs in this album that really stood out to me and all that good stuff, so that's why the computer's here. Anyway, let's continue on with the review. So, I've been a fan of this band for quite some time. I've enjoyed their past releases. I enjoyed the sound they have. I really enjoy the production of the guitars, the bass, the drums, the vocals, which are really aggressive, and the synthesizers and the keyboards they really like to throw into their songs that add that different element that just gives some more stuff besides the typical band sound. There's a new thing, the keyboard and the synthesizer, to really make their sound and make the songs stand out. So when I heard about this upcoming album, I was really excited, had high hopes for this album, and when I went into this album open-minded, high hopes, like I just said, I came out with a pretty positive opinion about this album. I feel like that this album has a lot of the moments that really made the Discovery and their other past releases really stand out and make them have a unique sound in them. And I feel like that this album has some of those elements that really made those past releases stand out, and also has other elements of new things they're trying to do with more synthesizers, more keyboard moments, and basically they're just trying to do a couple different things to really make this album progress more. There's a lot more elements of the orchestra movement. The beginning of Machine, the opening of the album, which was the first single, had that orchestraic moment. And at the end, the last song, track 11, Vengeance, really had this orchestra element at the beginning as well. So it gave you this like epic feeling vibe. And so that's what really caught my attention, was those two tracks, just talking about those, that their openings with these orchestraic movements that made me go, ooh, this sounds really epic. And then the rest of the track is heavy, aggressive, had some really interesting moments, and overall just really set you up for what you're going to be expecting on this album. And what I really enjoyed is that there's a song called Bsolution, which is track number 5, has this amazing, beautiful guitar solo that really stood out on this album, because before that and after that, there was some solo work, some really interesting progressive guitar work, but that solo really stood out to me because it had a really melodic vibe, and it really made the song especially special, is what I'm trying to say, is that solo really made that song, Absolution, a really special song on this album, in my personal opinion. Some people are kind of concerned about the fact that they're starting to do some new things, and the way I see it is this, is that, you know, sometimes bands have to just try out new things, just say like a stepping stone, like, okay, well, we did this on this album, let's see if we can do some new things, see what our fans think, and see how we feel about it. And I feel like that the new things they're trying to do on this album, I feel like that it's a good thing, because I felt like if this album was just like the Discovery, which is the 2011 release, if it felt like the exact same album as the Discovery, I would have felt like this album would have been just a rehash of what worked on the Discovery, you know, for their fans to really enjoy. If they're just going to do the exact same thing on this album, that I felt like that you know, they're not showing their creativity. They're kind of just borrowing the same ideas they did 2 years ago in order to make this album, you know, like a do-over, like the Discovery Part 2. But what I like is that they take some elements of their past releases, the elements that make them stand out, the elements that keep their fans coming back, and then they add these new things in order to see if, you know, if they enjoy it, if they enjoy playing it live, if the fans enjoy it, if the fans think, yeah, they need to take it a step further, keep going, keep seeing what can be, you know, what they can get themselves into, and see what they can pull into the tracks to see if they can even, you know, keep progressing further. And I feel like that this album really pushes that idea of, we're going to try new things. So I'm expecting on the 4th release of this from this band, which I'm already anticipating, that they're going to try new things on that album as well. They're going to keep progressing to see what works, what doesn't work, what kind of works, what kind of doesn't work, and basically try to make an album that has all these ideas that do work into one great album. I feel like this is a good album from Born of Osiris. I'm not saying it's their best, I'm not saying it's their worst. I think this is a great album. It's only the 3rd release, so there's of course potential to grow, or just to basically stay in the same formula and kind of keep putting out releases. There's no telling what way they're going to go. But for what I'm seeing from this album and looking at their past releases and comparing, thinking about things, is that they are progressing. So I'm assuming the 4th release will have a more progressive feel like this does. Now, does that mean our fans going to be you know, taking this album to heart, saying this is the best album. Who knows? That's up to your personal opinion. In my personal opinion, that I think that this is a good album from them, and I'm going to be listening to it from time to time again, and really understanding that they're progressing to a new thing. So I really enjoyed that, and the songs show that as well. Like the song Mindful, that was an interesting track, had some really interesting moments. The Origin, great track. Illusionist, that opening riff and just the way that they put that, basically they had like what sounded like an effect on the guitar that really made that song stand out, that opening. And there was an interesting riff that kind of reminded me of some past stuff, the song Illusionist, so that was really cool. And like I said before, Vengeance was a great track to end it. And I personally believe Machine had kind of the feel of what this album was going to be. So if you didn't like Machine, I would still try to check this out. If you like Machine, check out this album out. But regardless, I think Machine had some of the new things they're trying to do on this album. But don't just like cut this album off completely. If Machine you thought was a bad song, at least check out the album. I think you'll find some good things that you might like. So who knows, it's personal opinion, but you know, just check out the album. So anyways, let's talk about the band members and talk about their stuff on this album, and then the review will be over. So let's start off with vocals. Lead vocals, Ronnie. His vocal style is the same as the past releases. His vocals are still aggressive, they're in your face, and they're loud, and they're there. So if you are expecting the vocals to sound different because the music does, that's not the case. The vocalist is still keeping true to what he's good at, and which is giving you some amazing death growls and some amazing vocals. So don't be expecting different. He still sounds good. He's got some great vocal style, and he did really good on this album. Let's talk about Joe on keyboards, synthesizer, programming, and other vocals as well. So I felt like the keyboards were really interesting. There's a lot more keyboards on this album, a lot of keyboard moments. I really enjoyed that. The synthesizer, same thing, a lot of synthesizer moments. And so that was really good, like really mixed in pretty well. I think the keyboards and the rest of the band mixed in pretty well. The programming was cool too. The vocals, I think his vocals were also good too. You can tell when it's Ronnie or when it's Joe on vocals, so you can tell that difference there. It's pretty obvious. Let's go to Lee on guitars, editing and engineering, but his guitar playing, the guitars are insane. There's a lot of progressive moments, some just straight deathcore moments where it's just like, you know, chugging along, or basically some really fast alternate picking guitar riffs. I enjoy the guitar tone. It reminds me of the past releases, so there's no change there. But I do enjoy the guitars. They're very tight, they're aggressive, they're tight along with the rest of the band. There's no issues with the guitars at all. Really great. David on bass guitar. The bass guitar, it's the thing, I really wish the bass was turned up a little bit more so I can hear it better in the mix, just to hear the bass playing. But I'm assuming it was great, and I put the headphones on to listen. I could hear some bass moments. But if the bass is playing along with the guitar, which I'm assuming that's the case, then the bass is doing some amazing work. There's a lot of crazy, insane riffs on this album, so you know, there's that. Let's go into Cameron. I think C-A-M-E-R-O-N-C. It's one of those names. Hope I'm saying it right. On drums. The drums are insane. The drums are crazy. What do you expect? It's Born of Osiris. The drums, a lot of double bass, a lot of crazy drum fills, some really interesting off-time riffs. So the drums got to do some off-time crazy drum patterns in order to keep up. So you know, I feel like the band sounds amazing here. The song sounds great. The band sounds great. Blah, blah, blah. I keep repeating, you know. But the band sounds good. The songs are great. 11 tracks. One little interesting thing I do want to mention before I end this review is that the Discovery was 52 minutes long. 52. Just, right above 52 minutes. And this album's only 42 minutes, so they cut down 10 minutes. I would have felt like, maybe if there was more, maybe they could have tried some more things, or basically added on to the elements they're already trying to do, and just see what else could happen with that. They could add 2 more tracks or 3, because a lot of the songs are in the 3 to 4 minute range. There's actually no variation. It's either 3 minutes or 4 minutes, and that's it. But, I think it was a really good release. It really had some really interesting elements, and I like this album, so that's what it is. If I had to give a rating, which I will give a rating, I would say this is either on a low day a 7.5, or on a high day it's an 8.8, 8.5, an 8 out of 10. And I'm going to stick with, I think it's an 8 out of 10. I think it deserves an 8 out of 10. 7.5, it's in between that range. But like I said, guys, if you like Born of Osiris, or if you like progressive metal or deathcore, or the mixture of both, or if you've heard some of the Born of Osiris' past stuff and you're interested about this album, then I recommend at least checking it out, seeing what you like, see if you like the album or not. But for me, I enjoyed the album. So thank you guys for watching. That's the review. And like I said, if you liked the video and you liked the video, if you like me and you want to see more, click my name to see more. Thank you for watching. See ya.